Hi again guys, so today we are going to be, let me just sort this out, there we go, cooking a classic English British stew. Not one of these stews I've seen so many of online that have got beef and onion in and that's it. That's not a beef stew. Beef stew is full of everything. It's hearty. You've got enough leftovers to last the next day or to feed someone if they come round. So I'm going to put in 3 tablespoons butter. What I've got, I'm going to have to turn the pan on a bit guys, I'll set the alarm off. It's 800 grams here of brisket, beef brisket. You do not want a top cook for a stew. I mean, why? It's going to cook for hours and hours and hours. Use something that's cheaper, that's going to go further. Although, to be honest, brisket in this country is not getting so cheap anymore. So it's about 800 grams. It did come in a joint, but I've diced it up to, I don't know, maybe 2 centimetre square pieces. What I'm going to do is brown them off. Try not to that one's even bigger. Show you. But it'll just pull apart in the pan by the end of the day. By the time we're ready to eat, it'll just start falling to pieces, which is what we want. So we're going to pop bits in the pan. Don't overcrowd your pan because it goes from searing it to just simmering it, basically, and that's not what we want. So, put that in the pan there, and let's get a bit of colour. We'll finish with the butter at this point, so I'll put that away while that's going. It's not so hot the weather here today guys, but for actually cooking, standing next to the stove, it still feels pretty hot. So, like I say, don't touch it, just leave it. Leave it be. Let it get some colour. What you don't want to look at in your stew, when you go to eat it, is a grey piece of meat. So I'm going to put some salt in, because the butter I used was unsalted. This here is garlic pepper, not normal plain pepper, but are you going to focus? Hello, are you going to focus? Not today. No, garlic pepper anyway, guys. So pop that in. Now you can start to give them a flip. And look at that. Right there. You see a big piece of meat in your pan? That looks in your dish, should I say? That looks like that. You would choose that. I've got more heat over this side. You're going to choose that, aren't you, over a grey piece of meat? Move that over here actually. So just keep it going. Don't matter how many batches it takes, don't get impatient and chuck it all in, because you won't brown it that way. I'm not asking you to cook it at this stage, just brown it. Move that. It already looks nice. Just get into the beef. So, what I'll get my husband to do now, because he edits these, is just get him to speed up this whole process. Okay? So now I'm going to add, I don't know, maybe 3 tablespoons of flour. Since it was 3 tablespoons of butter. Fry that off a little bit. What you don't want to do is just not do this part and throw away all that flavour at the bottom of the pan. Don't worry about this flour sticking to the bottom of the pan. It won't soon. Not once I add some liquid. Cook this for a minute or so. Just get rid of that raw flour taste. Here's me flipping it everywhere. What I've got here is beef stock. I've got 3 beef stock cubes, 250 mils per stock cube. I'm not going to put all of this in, well, I don't think I am, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. So I'm going to use some. So as we all know, deglaze the pan. Guys, don't worry about these lumps, honestly. If you mix flour with fat, which is what comes out of the meat and the butter that was added, it doesn't stay lumpy. It will thin out and go smooth. But see the lumps and creak. Oh, I hate you when you get everywhere. Come on. There we go. Butter. I bet you're thinking, oh, there's still lumps. Wow. Yes, there is, but there's not going to be for long. Imagine all that flavour now that went into that flour from that beef and the butter. It's going to go into your slow cooker and form part of the gravy. This won't be all of the gravy, you're going to need a lot more. turns out I did have it all. There you go, see? You never know. So nearly at the point now where we're done. That's it. Another minute. Turn that off. I have no lumps. You get the jug. Let's put this in. Then I'm going to work on top of the stove now. And I'm grabbing the slow cooker. So I'll be using a 6 litre. I don't know what that is in America, but I've got a 6 litre slow cooker. That I'll be using. A couple of bits, but they'll dissolve in the slow cooker. There we go. That's what you get just from the beef. So make sure you use some juices. A lot of flavour now. So we'll be back in a second once I've set up the slow cooker. Right guys, so I'm back. I've got my slow cooker and I've got a liner in it. I'm going to turn it up to high. Put my meat straight into it with the juices as well. I'm going to tell you what I'm going to put in to my stew, but I'm not going to tell you how much I use because that is down to you and your family. So let me grab these. So I've got some green lentils. Don't look very green on camera, but they are. For me and my family, I fill up the lid of my container. And that's what I use. I've also got red lentils. And I'll do the same again. I just fill up the lid. You may have a much bigger family. You may have a much smaller family than mine. So you might need to put different amounts in. So, I have Worcestershire sauce, but there's not enough in this bottle, so I do have to open that one as well. That's enough of that. I do have that's garlic frozen. So I'm going to put, if I can, first time I bought them frozen, they're quite hard to separate. Well, I've managed to get one in, so that'll have to do something. So I've got the garlic in. Now, onion powder. I would say a teaspoon. This is basil, a teaspoon. This is what I'm using for what I'm making and for the amount of meat that I'm using. Sorry, that was margarine what I just put in. This is basil. But again, teaspoon. So I've got about 200 grams of mushrooms, which for a stew I don't chop. I'll just pull them apart. I remember my mum used to make stew when we was kids, but it was never made with beef, like pieces of beef like that. She always used to make it with corned beef. Oh, the thought. Ugh. It gives me the chills just thinking about it. And we used to hate it as kids. We used to ask before we went to school in the morning what was for tea when we got home. Whenever she used to say that, we used to just look at each other and just sort of, you know, when you give that physical shiver and shake. Oh. Well, that's not down to my mum's cooking. That's purely because we just didn't like it. And then, obviously, when I left home, I started making it with actual beef, and then found that I actually liked it. I guess it's just what you put in it. It's your own preference, I suppose, isn't it? So celery. I'm going to use 2 stalks. Just going to give these a quick rinse. That's that. I don't like celery. Probably wonder then why do you put it in? Because you can't taste it, and my husband does like it. So it doesn't make the stew offensive to me. So if he likes it, I may as well chuck it in. Would I ever just eat a stick of celery like a lot of people do? No, not a chance. So that's the 2 sticks of celery. I want 1.5. I would prefer brown onion, but I haven't got it, so that's just tough, and I'll have to use this. This is red onion. I want 1.5 bulbs. Oh, it looks like I've got 20 here. So that's the onion in. So it's beginning to look pretty full right now and colourful. This is a good thing about stew. You can throw into a stew whatever you like. Doesn't matter what it is, you can throw it in. So now we are on to carrots. I'm going to give these a rinse. Won't be a sec. I would not cut mine any smaller. We like them in chunks. So that is how I would cut it. They will break up a little bit during the cooking process. But if you did cut them smaller, they would probably disintegrate. Still need another couple. My slow cooker will be filled up more or less to the top by the time I'm done. I haven't got to the green beans yet, the white cabbage, and then as this cooks down, obviously it will cook down because the veggies and stuff do have a lot of water in them. I'm going to bother that one. Then I'll put the potatoes in. That'll do. So I use, what do I use there? Does it even say what size this is? So that was a 1 kilo bag and I left 2 small carrots. And all I did was, as you can see, here look. You can see what size that is. So, white cabbage. You might seem an odd choice for a stew. Would I put any other cabbage in? Only if it was a firm, hard cabbage like white cabbage. I would never put a savoy in. By the way, I've just chopped the head off. And that's all I'm going to use, the head. This bit. So I'm just going to rinse it. So like I was saying, I wouldn't use a savoy. Far too soft. Turn to mush. I think most of them are quite soft actually. This still has that little bit of crunch, even at the end of all that cooking. And my kids will eat this. Don't if it was steamed on Sunday dinner. But they will in the stew. And it still retains just that little bit of crunch. So you don't need any more. You get quite a lot from that bit I just chucked in. The goal here is to pack as many vegetables, hide as many vegetables as you can from the kids. Unless you're really, really lucky and got kids that eat all the vegetables. Mine are not at that stage yet. So I want some green beans. These I always keep frozen because I think they tend to go bad quite quick. These I don't put too much of, maybe a handful. There's only my husband that likes them, so. Then all I'm going to do is, this is already on, it's hot. Just hasn't got the lid on yet. Hang on, just let me adjust you a little bit. If I can without breaking it. see everything that's in here. And the meat is right down at the bottom there. So as you can see, it's quite full. But like I say, the vegetables contain a lot of water. I'm going to add in all that stock that I took out of that pan when I cooked the beef. Then I'm still going to add some more water. I want lots of gravy later. This will thicken up again later because I'm going to add potatoes. And the potatoes will cook in this until they're soft. Not mushy, soft. And I'm just washing the lid. And obviously with it being a starch, it'll thicken up the gravy. Also, once it's ready, I'm going to chuck in some dumplings. You do not have stew without dumplings. That's just, I can't even imagine it. What a horrendous thought. It's like toast with real butter, milk with cereal. You have to have dumplings. If you're a British person, you have dumplings with your stew. I guess it's like Americans with their biscuits and gravy, I suppose. So, lid on, it's on high. I don't know if you'll be able to see, yeah, it's on high. So that's going to be on high all day. It is now, what is it? No, 12:15 AM. No. It's nearly midday, guys. God, it's been a long morning. So I'm going to leave that for about 2 hours. Let the lentils and everything get cooked and soak away in that liquid. Then I'm going to come back, give it a good stir, see how far along we are. And if it's ready to have the potatoes added. And then I'll show you where we go from there. Okay? And then I'll show you after that, when I put the dumplings in, how they're supposed to look, how the thick gravy is supposed to look for a good old fashioned British stew. Okay, guys? Hey, welcome back. So this is literally an hour and a half in, so you can see how much it's cooked down now and how much more liquidy it is. Sorry about that, the coffee machine turning on. I mean, the meat is nowhere near ready, nowhere, but that's an hour in and that's how much liquid you've got. So I'll just sort of show you how colourful it is supposed to be. The chunks of meat that I hope personally, because I like it when it's all falling to bits, so I hope it'll melt down and fall to bits. But so long as it's tender, I'm happy at that. And which it most, look, definitely isn't, not yet, not after an hour. So what I'm going to do is stick the lid back on. I'm going to peel me some potatoes, and maybe in an hour's time they'll be ready to go in. But that's the difference. You couldn't even see any liquid last time. So that's it. I'm going to put the lid on. And with these, if you haven't got a clip lid that locks into place, I find that it lets some of the heat out. So I put a tea towel over the top, over the lid, and I find that helps it to cook a lot quicker and it keeps the heat in better. So I don't know if you want to try that with your own. And that's it. The stew that once you've done the 20-minute prep work cooks itself basically. So I'll be back to show you a bit further along. There will be some dumplings today as well, and some crusty bread with butter to mop up all the thick gravy. So yeah, I'll show you further along. Okay. Right, so we're back. It's been 2.5 hours. Let's take a look. can see how much that's cooked down now. See if I can find some. Ooh, hot. There you can see how, well, you could see how much the lentils have swollen, so they're definitely cooked. Carrots, yep, cooked. This is thickening up nicely. Oh, there you can see the lentils more now. As I stir it, see the lentils. There you go. Put the slip off, there you go. So what we're going to do now, I have, just drain them. A large bowl of potatoes. So, see the size of my hand. You don't want them too small because they're going to disintegrate. The outer layer, see the size of that one? The outer layer is going to get soft and break off anyway, which is what's going to thicken it. That one. But they also shouldn't be the size of tennis balls, so that one's a bit smaller. So we're just going to add our potatoes in. This is a very, very healthy meal. And I would say when this is finished with the dumplings, you could feed 10 maybe from this. So if you do have a large family. We're also going to have crusty bread to dip in. And that will have butter on it. So I'm just going to stir this up to make room for the other potatoes. And then I'm going to add more water. So. All the smaller vegetables like the mushrooms, the onions, and the lentils and everything. They're all really small now. So the biggest things you've got is your meat here. Let me check that actually. So yeah, that is getting there. Just about chopped in half. Here it has got in half. So you've got your meat. I mean, this is still going to be on for about another 2 hours yet. So, add a bit more water in there. At the end, if the gravy's still not thick enough for your liking, sometimes I add some corn flour. You can use gravy browning as well if you want to. I already think this is a really nice colour. Now if you're not feeding 8 to 10 people with this huge pot, stew, as everybody knows, is better the next day or the day after that. And we have company tomorrow, so I do plan on using what's left over for that. Why make something when you've got something that tastes so good? So now the potatoes are in. Actually, I'm going to just have a quick try and see if I need anything else in it. A little bit more salt. Do it to your taste. If you don't like salt at all in your food, by all means don't put it in. But just remember it. I think you do need some salt in your food to bring out the flavours of what you're eating. But if there's some people that can't have any salt, well, you don't have to put it in. The lid back on. It's still on high. And I'll check it again in another hour. Okay. Right, we're back again. And now, oh, that's bubbling some. It's been about 4 hours. Oh, as you can just see, I've just broke that potato. So the potatoes are done. Didn't think it'd take them long. What's the meat like? Yeah, it's gone straight through. So, I'm going to get the stuff out now to do English dumplings. And then I'll show you how to do them in a sec. I'll pop them on top and within 20 minutes they'll be ready. Right, so now we're back with the dumplings. I'm going to mix these up and drop them onto there. Should you want to make these, it would be 115 grams of butter, but I prefer it split straight down the middle, half lard, half butter, 200 grams of self-raising flour, and then just enough water to bring it together so it holds. And in here I've got about a tablespoon of parsley. So I'm just going to add some water in. You'll see it just starts forming balls, sticking together. I need some more water. Not too much of a different recipe, I imagine, from American biscuits. A little bit more water. If you find you have too much water, just add a little bit more flour, just to balance it out. Hoping that you can see this okay. Need just a little touch more. Hopefully that's done it. You don't really want to work these too much because they can become tough. So all I'm going to do is remove the lid, and these are going to puff up to twice the size if you've done them right. Bit of a messy job, but well worth it. Sorry, you can hear the kids in the background, but it is what it is. I do have 2 small children. And that's all we do, is we just pop them on the top. As such. Bit left in the bottom, but I'm not concerned about that. Put that one there. Get rid of that. Rinse your hands off. And all you're going to do is pop the lid on and leave it alone until they've doubled in size. Just leave it alone, leave it be. You don't need to do anything else to it. They'll double in size, and if you want to double check that they're cooked, all you've got to do is take 2 forks and just pull up from the centre outwards, and if it's fluffy, it's cooked. Right, That's all there is to show you. I'll show you it when it's done and plate it up. There you go. Fluffy. Can't really see what I'm doing with my phone, but cooked. More than doubled in size.